I actually wanted to start this episode with quoting Bible verses. I felt it was fitting. But I'm just going to highlight one part of the Bible verse I wanted to quote, which is God preparing a meal for us in the presence of our enemies. I like that Bible verse. I really do like that Bible verse. And I find it very fascinating that what we consider enemy is a vague concept. And in this case, what we consider enemy is village people. So who are our village people? Welcome back, guys. This is Madness in Nigeria Living, and I'm your host, Gesi. And to go back to that question, who do you consider our village people? I started the podcast episode with this question because the last episode focused on how we are our own village people. Honestly, I have way more to talk about that, but I'll try not to focus on that yet. So, who are our village people? I would pose this question and answer it immediately because that's why you're here. The government. What do I mean, the government? Am I talking about a particular government like APC, PDP? No, I'm talking about organized power that have control over the masses. So the government now is not just the presidency, it's the judiciary system, it's the police, it's everybody that makes up the government. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let's go. Let's start this. In 2021 or 2022, I can't remember, and I didn't make research on this, but I remember something like this happened. There was a skyscraper that collapsed in Ikoyi or so, Banana Island via Ikoyi, one of those places. The skyscraper collapsed, and everybody was like, wow, village people this, village people that. I don't know if the construction company that handled that project faced any fine. I don't know if the government tried to tackle those people. And even if they might have tried, I would love to believe that they most likely will just bribe off the government and the story dies. But lives were lost. And it's so sad that lives were lost. And so we should pray lives don't get lost next time. See what that does. Instead of holding the people accountable, we first of all shift it to spiritual power, to village people, to juju. Na juju they do them. And then we pray for it not to happen again. Over the years, how many times have we seen the Nigerian government organize prayers? Like, let's pray for the nation. They call pastors, they call imams to come and pray for the nation. We have seen it one too many times. But why is that done? I would say the first and obvious reason is this. It's shifting of blame. Because if you can pose the problem as something outside of your human control, but it's in the control of a spiritual entity, then you can't be held accountable to your own mistakes. You just blame. So if we as individuals do it and the government does it too, what are the repercussions we see and how does it play out? Look at this case scenario. If you are living in Plateau State, you applied for a job, an online job, or so you thought. But after applying for the job, you need a physical onboarding before you get the job. And the physical onboarding is supposed to be in Lagos. How are you going to do it? Are you more likely to take the road or fly? Depend on the type of job and depend on the type of money you have. But for the vast majority of Nigerians, it's a road trip. And as it's a road trip, the distance between Plateau and Lagos is actually very far. To get there on time, especially if you receive the letter you're supposed to start the very next day, that Monday, maybe you receive the letter during the weekend, that getting ready, you are more likely to travel by night. If you travel by night, you are more likely to be kidnapped. You are more likely to be robbed. Now let's say none of those happen. You get there safely, you do your onboarding, you have gotten the job, you are good to start working. And now you are going back to Plateau because that's where all your belongings is. And then you travel back again. On your way back, you have an accident and you die. Oh, village people. But what they don't tell you, or the part of the conversation that is never had, is what was the condition of the road? If the roads were better, if you pay attention to where robbery happens most times on highways, is the part of the road that is empty, lonely, and has pothole. So that's a problem the Nigerian government can easily face, but the government never does, and that's why the government. First of all, it's our village people. And if you look back at that problem of the road could have been easily fixed. Another thing that caused a lot of accidents, like I said, when I'm talking about the government, I'm not talking about presidency, I'm talking about everybody that works with the government, every organization that is under the government. If road safety and people that are supposed to take care of the road to do their job properly, a lot of road accidents can easily be avoided in Nigeria. Our roads are very unsafe. The way the cars are packed up, the luggages, you see a lot of luggages on top of the car, which increases the chances of the car somersaulting and whatnot. All these things are things that if the road safety was doing their job, if the police on the road were doing their jobs, these are things that can be averted, but it won't be, and that's why accidents will happen, and yet we say it's village people. And I do agree in this sense that it's village people. It's just that the village people is not your uncle in your village, but more so neglect from the government, because the government and these agencies have little to no overwatch. They don't do routine check, they don't follow safety procedures, and because of this lack of procedures, all these evils, all these ills happen, and we blame it on village people. And yes, I do agree to the blame. I just feel the blame is being focused on the wrong thing, because if you blame it on a spiritual entity you cannot hold, legally speaking, then nobody is held accountable and nothing is done. So blaming village people by our government is just a way for the government and government organizations to not be held accountable, and that's not good. Now, another angle the government is clearly village people is this. Let me tell you a story. I grew up in Warri, and when I was growing up, courtism was very, very high. Being stopped by random boys, they collect your phone and everything, was a very, very high thing to happen. But the last few times I've gone to Warri, I've noticed that Warri is relatively safer. You just walk around and nobody's really stopping you. Everybody's a little bit more chilled. And the reason is because a lot of Warri courtists are now G-boys, another illegal activity, but they are making money and they find it pointless to be in the middle of the street. So you see, there are activities that can very much lead to the death of people is caused by lower income. If the government creates facilities that help these people make money to begin with, they are less likely to partake on activities that we would call village people. And that's another thing that is very fascinating, how government neglect leads to human behavior that leads to what we consider village people. When I was making research for this topic, one of the recurring things from people I spoke with is, in the heart of humans, we are just naturally wicked. And it's no surprise that my most popular episode is actually the episode on how wickedness give Nigeria people hope. People still listen to that episode till today. So wickedness is in the heart of man, yes, but there are countries like Iceland, there are countries like Switzerland. Are those people not wicked too? I was looking at the crime rate in Iceland. Known homicide in Iceland as of 2022 was 4. The highest I saw for the last 5 years was 2020, that had 5 people. 5 people were killed in a whole country. How many people do you think get killed daily in just one state in Nigeria? So what we call village people is usually linked to neglect. Now going back to the Iceland crime rate, I saw that one of their highest cause of crime is traffic violation. And another thing that I saw that I find very, very fascinating, where non-Icelanders were more likely to commit crime in Iceland. But the crime they are committing are non-violent crime, and the crime they are committing is actually linked to them earning lesser than an islander on average. So it's usually violation of immigrants' permit that is their crime. Are you seeing what I'm driving at? What I'm driving at is this. In a system wherein the government properly works, crime rate is lower, one. What we consider village people most times is lower. And that does not remove the wickedness in the heart of man. It just removes the agency that amplifies that wickedness. Because a lot of Nigeria wickedness is, first of all, amplified by our belief that everybody is wicked. Because if everybody is wicked, there's no need for you to be good. And secondly, because we don't have infrastructures, we don't have things in place that make our life easier, so we resort to everything else. The only reason someone would do money ritual is because they want to make money, and they can't phantom a means to make money. And a lot of the times when they go to the babalawos and whatnot, is because they feel like even the business they are doing is being obstructed by spiritual entities, and that leads to more crime, more village people. So if infrastructures are properly in place, how can this differ? I would say, first off, if infrastructure is put in place that can lead to better credit system, that can make you more likely to start your business if you can't get a job, and it's very easy to do that and make money, a lot of the village people mindset will be at, a lot of crime will be at. And if safety precautions are taken in the workspace, especially in construction companies, on the road, a lot of what we consider village people will not be a thing. So village people effectively is government neglect. In the broader sense, it is government neglect. The belief system is there, but the government neglect is what amplifies the belief system, and it is further amplified when you consider the fact that anytime something bad happens, instead of the Nigerian government to take ways to prevent it from happening again, the government is more likely to blame it on the devil. The government is more likely to call pastors and imams to come and pray, and that's where it ends. Nothing is being done. Do you know how crazy it is that I was reading a fun fact on whatthefuckfunfact.com, and one of the fun facts I saw was in 2004, Nigeria police arrested a goat because armed robbers robbed the bank, and when they were in pursuit of the armed robbers, they thought the armed robbers turned into a goat, so they arrested the goat for hours. Wow. The worst part about reading that fun fact is that that's not a Nigeria site. So that's how someone sees Nigeria. That's fucked up. That in itself is even more village people doing so, because if you see Nigeria as that backward, that's one of the multiple reasons for you to not want to visit Nigeria. If we have a better tourism culture, we can generate more money. If we can generate more money, our economy will be better. And most importantly, our currency will not be on the free fall, which will not lead to you wanting to jackpot, which will mean everything will be good. There's something I find very, very interesting, which is the average Nigerian Christian. I'm going to use the word Christian because I don't know a lot of Muslims that have migrated, but the average Nigerian Christian I know, the moment they migrate out of Nigeria, they are more likely to be agnostic or atheist. So you see that for us, God is just a provision mechanism. It's a do the social amenities, provide for social amenities, provide the bare minimum. And when that is met, there's no need for God. And if that is true, the flip side is also true. If the social amenities is met and bad things are less likely to happen, they are less likely to think village people are after your life. And that's why I say the Nigerian government is effectively village people. Something can be done about that, but I don't think this podcast is the platform that will make that change happen. The listeners are the ones that can make that change happen. Run for government offices. In fact, play this on your presidential campaign. And when you're in a position where you can lead others, maybe you're a supervisor, you're a manager or something, try to put safety precautions in place that will prevent a lot of damages from happening. Every time we're on the road, we see cars that shouldn't be on the road. Every time we are at the factory, we see the way the machine is not properly taken care of, and this can lead to accidents, and this accident is what we call village people. It's quite unfortunate that a lot of times this could have been avoided, but nothing is being done, and when it happens, we just blame it and shift the blame, because effectively that's what village people are, a mechanism for shifting the blame. And when the blame is shifted, there's no need for you to hold anybody accountable, and then the cycle continues. But the cycle can't keep on continuing. That was funny. I think I'll keep that. So that's it guys. Thanks again for coming back. We'll see you again next week. I'm not going to tell you what next week episode is about. Bye.